you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe now. We have new stories every day. Now, let's go. I came home one winter evening and found Kayla, my wife of several years, standing at the mirror. She wore a sleek black dress I'd never seen before, applying bold red lipstick with painstaking care. When I asked if we were going out somewhere, she glanced at me over her shoulder and said flat as ice, "I have a date." A physical ache knotted my chest, but I stayed calm. I told her if she truly planned on seeing another man, she should pack her things and leave. She smirked, unapologetic, defiant, and told me I'd regret trying to push her out. A marriage on the rocks? It hadn't always been like this. We once had something good: road trips, late-night laughter, cooking together in a house that felt like our sanctuary. But a devastating fire destroyed that home, forcing us to move into my grandmother's old place. Ever since, Kayla had seemed restless. Day by day, she pulled further away. She started dressing differently, spending long nights out, tilting her phone screen so I couldn't see who she was texting. Subtle changes piled up until I couldn't deny the truth: she was done with me. That evening, her bold declaration, "I have a date," shredded any illusions that we could fix the mess. I braced myself for an ugly confrontation. Sure enough, she threatened to have me hauled off by the cops if I tried to make her leave. I told her to go anyway. Unraveling in the garage, she stormed off to get ready. Rage simmered in me, but I refused to let her see me beg. Instead, I channeled my frustration into something else. I swung an old aluminum bat at her car, smashing the headlights and taillights. I took her phone, left carelessly on the counter, and destroyed its battery so she couldn't call anyone to help her. If she was running off to meet some secret lover, she'd have to do it on foot. She came downstairs in that black dress and heels, furious when she saw me. Realizing her car was wrecked, she dashed to the garage and jumped into my Suburban, the beast we called it. She pressed the remote to open the garage door, but it wouldn't budge. In a blind rage, she slammed the accelerator. Metal screeched and the Suburban crashed right into the closed garage door, then into a police cruiser parked outside. One of the officers had just stepped out, and he dove aside, landing hard. Moments later, the chaos was deafening. Flashing lights, shouting officers, neighbors peeking from their windows. An officer I vaguely recognized, Officer Parker, pulled Kayla out of the driver's seat, cuffing her as she screamed that it was all my fault. But the damage was done. The beast was toppled, the cruiser mangled, and Kayla was arrested on the spot. Courtroom consequences. Our eventual divorce hearings were even more dramatic. Kayla's lawyer demanded half the house and all sorts of compensation, trying to paint me as the manipulative villain. My lawyer, thankfully, had meticulously prepared. We presented documents proving the house was legally owned by my family. Kayla wasn't entitled to it. We showed receipts that big purchases, appliances, furniture were made by my father's funds. Kayla and her lawyer realized they had no real leverage. "You're leaving me with nothing." Kayla snapped in court, outraged that her demands weren't met. But the judge saw through her theatrics. She walked away with minimal assets, just her car, once repaired, and some money she'd already withdrawn from our accounts. Everything else she'd expected to win was beyond her grasp. The gavel fell, and just like that, our marriage, once built on laughter and mutual support, was officially over. Finding a new beginning? Rebuilding my life took time. I stayed in my grandmother's house, fixed it up to feel less like a relic of lost dreams. In the midst of my attempts to move on, I re-encountered Officer Parker, the red-headed officer who had responded that chaotic night in the garage at a local shooting range. She recognized me, asked how I was doing, and we slowly struck up conversations that went from polite to personal. It wasn't about replacing Kayla. It was about learning to trust again. Officer Parker, whose first name is Jessica, had her own share of life's heartbreak. We bonded over nights at the range, over coffee, over quiet evenings just talking, free of accusations or drama. In time, that friendship blossomed into something deeper. Months later, we stood hand in hand in a small ceremony, exchanging vows both simple and genuine. I never expected to find love again, especially after feeling so betrayed and broken. Yet there we were, forging a new chapter. Full circle. I kept my grandmother's old house for several years and gifted it to my adult daughter when she was ready for a home of her own. It felt like a symbol of healing. The place that once bore witness to heartbreak was now a fresh start for the next generation. As for Kayla, I heard through mutual acquaintances that she moved out of state, still burdened by the fallout of her reckless decisions. I don't wish her harm, but I also don't regret that we parted ways. That night of collisions, emotional and literal, was the last straw in a marriage already rife with hidden fractures. Life rarely goes as planned. Sometimes it takes chaos, heartbreak, and even a little karmic twist to force us onto a different path. Though painful, those detours lead us to places we never dreamed we could go. For me, it led to a life of honesty, trust, and the steady warmth of someone who respects and loves me without demands or manipulation. Looking back, I wouldn't change a thing. Even the worst nights can become turning points, stepping stones toward a better, more hopeful tomorrow.